It's part 4 of our race buggy build series, and we bought some parts for our B6.2. I'm gonna show you guys what we bought. We're gonna install them on the car, and then we're gonna head to the track to finally move our fan like we talked about so long ago to see if it makes a difference. For our new parts, we only have 2 items, and they quickly consumed our $50 budget per video that we have. And these 2 parts are all based off of what happened last weekend, and that's we raced. Our local track, the Silver Dollar RC Raceway, was finally able to open up after being closed for months and held their first race last Saturday, and it was a packed house. Sadly, we didn't get any footage of the race. I went out there by myself, solo, no camera, just to gain some experience with the car and also just get some ideas on the direction of future items and things to do to this buggy to make it better suited for our carpet track. And going out there and racing definitely helped out. Because when we put the car on the track to actually drive for our very first qualifier, the car was trash. Now remember in part 2 when we said this? Accelerating hard when exiting the turn causes the car to spin out when you really hold on to it. Well, it was 10 times worse out there now, and you had to really baby the throttle, else the car would just loop out on you. And it's not the car's fault, it's the track conditions. The carpet had just changed. So much so that our current setup with the car made us over a second slower than the fastest stock buggy racer out there. And it's really just because we just couldn't push the car very hard. So later, after that first qualifier, I went to the fast guy, the dude who was putting down the awesome laps. His name is Raymond. He's a really cool guy. He's super nice and friendly, and I hit him up, and he was running the Schumacher Cactus. And I'm talking about on the rear. Now another guy who heard this conversation, his name is Brett also, he offered to let us use a brand new set of Cactus tires that he had, and we used them throughout the night. So that was super nice, and a big thanks to both of those guys out there. Now, with those rear buggy Cactus tires on this car, OMG. Those tires made the biggest impact to the car of all the things we've done and tried. With them, the car doesn't spin out when you accelerate out of a turn. We were able to get on the throttle really hard when exiting, and the car was just more confident to drive, and you could drive it really aggressively. But it really speaks volume to having the correct tires to match your specific track conditions and ambient temperatures. The tires we're using on our car right now are great tires. They just weren't hooked up on that particular surface. Now the only downside of using those Cactus rear tires is that they had so much traction that it took away a little bit more of our steering. So that's where we're at today, except I had to give Brett back his tires. So we bought some stuff. So as you guessed it, the first item that we purchased are a pair of Schumacher Cactus tires, pre-mounted. They're in the yellow compound. I think that's the only compound. And these tires are $20.49 for the pair. And for the second item, we picked up the Team Associated brass front bulkhead. This item adds 30 grams. It weighs 30 grams, and it cost us $29.99. So if you do the math, we went over our budget 48 cents, but in the previous episode, we did have a little over $1 remaining. So let's get these items installed, and we're gonna head to the track. All right, I need some tools and a Sharpie and a ride height gauge and a camber gauge. That should do it. I should have bought a car stand. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Tires are more important, okay? So I'm gonna add an arrow on these so I know the direction if I ever take them off and want to put them back on. Something like that is perfect. So that's gonna be our left side. I'm gonna put an L because the arrow wasn't clear enough. This one's gotta go that way. So we have some little set screws with our bulkhead that looks like they're gonna hold in and lock down our suspension pin, our hinge pin. So I think I'm gonna use just a little bit of Loctite on those set screws. Wouldn't it be nice if installing all upgrades was as simple as just putting on a new set of tires? That'd be great. I think this will be pretty dang easy, actually. While we're down here, check out the chassis protective sheet. Look at the dark, I don't know if it's like soot or dirt that's being picked up from the carpet. It's pretty crazy. The chassis protective sheet's held up really well. It's wearing just a little bit there on the back side. Wonder if you could like wax this. Would that help sliding it on the carpet? I don't know. Let me know down there. What do you guys do? Now let's apply a little bit of Loctite. These set screws require such a tiny amount. I'm not even gonna dab the screw in the puddle. I'm just gonna take my X-Acto, got a little bit on there. I'm just gonna put a little bit. Awesome. All right, now the last thing to do, I need to put the wing back on, but with that extra weight in the front end, our ride height's gonna be off. I'm gonna recheck the ride height and then recheck the camber. Perfect. We are done with all of that. We're gonna charge our pack, head to the track. We're gonna get a baseline temperature reading with the fan in this orientation, location, and then we're gonna come back, let it cool, and then we'll put the fan back here in this empty chassis space that our spur gear lockout has allowed us. It's really hot outside today, so we're gonna get some interesting temps. So right now it's 107 degrees outside, ambient temperatures. Let's temp the motor really quick. Let's see if we can get a reading of what the motor's sitting at. 87.2. We're gonna set our timer 5 minutes. Check the temps again. Start. God, it feels good though. Shoot him. Okay, let's check it. 195, 194, 197, 186, 195. And we're back. So, off camera, we went ahead and changed out that fan location. Just using a little bit of nitro clean. You could use some rubbing alcohol to clean the bottom of the fan and then the chassis. And I just used some double-sided tape. This is like flexible servo tape. And boom, I just smushed the fan right on there. It feels pretty strong and rigid, like it's not gonna go anywhere. So this should be a really good test. I think before we leave and go check our temps with this fan configuration, I think I need to trim the body a little bit back here to give that fan maximum clearance and open air. Oh yeah. Yeah, so that should work really well. The fan is gonna have lots of open air to be blowing on that motor. There's no obstructions. There's no Lexan body in the way. Let's go check our temps, see if it improves. Says it's 108 degrees outside right now, so it's gone up 1 degree. Let's see what we're getting from our motor. 88 degrees. right now, the motor, as it's been sitting and cooling. All right, let's set the timer 5 minutes and drive. Okay. My fan's starting to cut in and out. Did I mess it up? $168, there's no way. $165. $165. $167. That is significantly cooler than it was before. Oh, wow, I can hold my finger on there. Yeah. What is going on with this fan though? So we had significantly lower temps with a fan that may not have been working at 100%. I don't know. And we are back inside the AC. It was 108 degrees that second test. 165 degrees though was the final temperature after 5 minutes. Strange how the fan was kind of going in and out there when I pulled it off the track. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Kind of interesting. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and leave any questions or comments down below. I'm Brett from AMain Hobbies. Thanks for watching. 108 degrees at the track. Holy smokes. They're gonna race in that. I don't know if I can do that. It was gonna go, but now I'm like,